and with a dramatically larger Islamic community than he had when he arrived. Um, it was a very fruitful few years for him in Medina.
Right, right. So now that he has this great following, he's in his new city. He's now the ruler of that city. I imagine he starts to expand his influence into neighboring cities. And does he, at any point does he use might to spread his message?
Yes. So Muhammad has always, historically, I mean, since his days as a raider slash trader, right, he's already proven himself an able warrior and military leader, and willing to resort to violence when circumstances require it.
Yeah, he's very much an ends justify the means.
Sure.
It
Yes.
seems that way.
Sure.
The lying to
Sure. Yes.
for the greater good.
I would say, and in Islam you'll find later on that it is a sort of a fate religion, a destiny religion, where it's almost everything is already predestined by Allah.
Mm,
That it is not possible truly to make a mistake if you are an actual true believer and follower of Allah. It's really not possible to make a mistake
mm,
because God has already ordained and predestined everything that you are going to do. And I truly believe that he believed that Islam was the true sort of the true religion, the true salvation of all humanity, and that
mm-hmm.
yes, the ends did justify the means, because if he died, he wouldn't be able to preach the message. The community
Mm-hmm.
would die, and you know what? One little white lie to save
Right,
thousands of lives and to prolong the
right,
religion. I think it was, yes, that kind of sort of
right, right.
belief.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
it,
it's smart almost in a way. Not willing to die on the sword. It's like, living to fight another day because I know I have much more to do than to just die for this petty squabble. Yeah.
yeah, he was more of a politician, maybe.
Pragmatic almost.
Um,
Yes.
so he's got his platform. He's
Hmm.
uh,
So you say, does he ever use might? Yes, but before he really starts expanding out, you said, does he expand out? Yes, but his first move when he really gathers a following and gets established in Medina, is to go right back to his ancestral home of Mecca, the already very
mm-hmm,
valuable and prominent city of Mecca where he's from.
mm-hmm,
The people who ousted him and forced him to commit blasphemy against his God.
right,
The people who ashamed him and humiliated him,
right,
enraged him. He comes back with the army of Medina, effectively, and takes the city of Mecca by force.
right, right.
He takes it by force, and he establishes himself as sort of Sheikh of Mecca, as well as Sheikh of Medina, which just that in itself makes him already one of the most secularly powerful rulers in the entire Arabian Peninsula.
Right. And so uh, how that get received by neighboring tribes? I mean, I'm guessing there was some pushback.
Sure. So his family's a little muffed, sure, because you've now invaded the ancestral home and killed lots of people, blah blah blah. But local Arabian tribes, hey man, that's the way of life. These are a
Uh-huh.
warrior people. He successfully militarily conquered you. That's just what it is, right? So
Right.
people, if anything, respect him more in general
Mm.
around the peninsula. They say, okay, this is an ambitious, successful military ruler. This
Mm.
is a dude I could have a beer with, that kind of thing. Um, but then his family's a little muffed, but whatever. But then one of the major things is one of the first major groups to follow him. One of the early major parts of his constituency was actually a Jewish tribe of Arabians
Hmm.
who lived near him, who he had, brought into the Ummah, the Islamic community, as monotheists. And you see that Muhammad highly respects Judaism and Christianity, highly respects monotheism in general, and ultimately sort of believes in a way that you'll see historically a lot of monotheists believe that all monotheisms point to the same God.
Mm-hmm.
That ultimately, whether it's Allah or the Christian God or the Jewish God or the Mongol God of the open sky, ultimately monotheism, it translates very well to other monotheistic religions. It's very easy
Right.
to sort of blend them and see the comparisons and the similarities.
Right.
And so this community of Jews that were a major part of his constituency, they looked upon his forceful taking of Mecca and the rampant loss of life that happened in that battle. They looked upon it as being unjust and unrightful, that he should have stayed in Medina, that there was no need to forcefully take Mecca.
Right.
And so a lot of them left the community.
So he has a bit of a schism within.
There's a schism. This is honestly the birth of the schism between Judaism and Islam. This is literally
Really?
where you see this sort of rivalry and butting heads, is the fact that Muhammad originally was very friendly with his local Jews, and that they had a lot of similarities, and they were very much working together. There was a large tribe of Jews who were literally part of the Islamic community. And then when they separated, when they sort of shunned him and said, no, you have strayed from the path,
Right.
and they shunned him, I would say, in my opinion, looking back on him, it seems like his ego has inflated a bit, having become a secular ruler of Medina for several years now, and coming back and having victoriously taken the city of Mecca. He has a high opinion of himself. You'll see writings in the Quran that are based on this time period as opposed to the early days of his preaching. They start becoming more authoritative, more sort of commands rather than guidance and advice. He is adapting to being a secular ruler, and he's starting to talk like a king. And kings do not accept that they're wrong almost ever, historically speaking.
Sure.
And so he basically says, all right, if you think I've strayed from the path, screw you, Jews, get out of here, and kicks them out of Mecca.
Okay, so they've been exiled too.
Back to, I suppose, to wherever they can find land, because the lands that they were originally from would be within the province of Mecca, within the lands that the city of Mecca sort of controls. So they have probably, in all likelihood, been removed from their own lands that they have been in for years. After having followed a guy that they truly believed in and were some of his biggest supporters from the start, and were hugely influential in actually getting him off the ground, and he's shunned them.
So he's taking the my way or the highway approach.
Sure.
He's now enforcing his, and at this point it's not, is it identified as Islam? You say it was very closely aligned with Judaism. So what was it called, or is it just?
Yes, Muhammad does in fact coin the phrase Islam. Islam is the Arabic word for surrender, and it means surrender to God.
Okay.
It is surrendering to monotheism, basically surrender to the fact that the truth, right, that there is one and only God.
Right.
And yes, he does in fact coin this term, and yes, the Islamic community is already calling itself Islam and Muslims.